Welcome back to our breaking news coverage of an active shooter situation unfolding just outside of Coeur d'Alene. It's in the Canfield Mountain area east of Coeur d'Alene. It all began at around 1:20 this afternoon when firefighters received reports of a fire. They responded to the brush fire. When they arrived, they started taking gunfire. We know that 2 have been shot and killed. There could be more victims. Right now, law enforcement is still trying to determine how many shooters there are. That person has yet to be caught. They have yet to be neutralized. So it's a very active, evolving situation right now.
Yeah, this is happening right now near Canfield Mountain. This is east of Coeur d'Alene right now, a very popular area, especially on a weekend right now. There, again, as Mark said, there is a shelter in place and they're still actively working to get people off the mountain, including hikers and people just recreating there on Canfield Mountain as they work to take down the suspect or suspects. Right now, the sheriff's saying that he doesn't know if there are more than one shooter. They are shooters. He says there could be 1, 2, 3, or 4 because they are taking gunfire from multiple directions.
We have a live reporter at the scene. Her name is Regan Gallo. She has been out there for several hours this afternoon. Regan, you are standing outside the command center where there's this huge law enforcement response. Can you give us an idea of just the situation at this hour? We're now about 4.5 hours in to this ordeal.
Mark, there is a lot of support here on the scene right now, and we are in Cherry Hill Park area, and actually we're right behind a Coeur d'Alene fire station as well. So as we come into the area, there are plenty of law enforcement vehicles out. We have anywhere from support coming from Idaho State Police, as well as Kootenai County, Bonner County, Kellogg, and Coeur d'Alene. We have support coming over from the Spokane area too, the U.S. Marshal, and we have FBI. We have seen some FBI vests. We also have Life Flight. Those helicopters are just over to the left of me as well. And I believe we saw a helicopter from Homeland Security go into the sky about 20 minutes ago or so. So a ton of support on the ground. And as you can see, I am just, right where the investigation is happening with many support team members up there doing what they need to do. They expect that it's going to be an all-night investigation until those suspects are found.
Yeah, Regan, and we're talking a huge response. As you mentioned, officers from several different agencies, including federal agencies, U.S. Marshals, the FBI, as we're seeing right there on our screen, and all local law enforcement agencies. We know that it was Kootenai County Fire and Rescue that responded to this reported brush fire 121 when they were ambushed. And then local police responded thereafter. Again, we don't know the number of suspects police are looking for at this time. It could be multiple. Sheriff Bob Norris addressing the media in a press conference about an hour and a half ago or so, saying if this individual or individuals are not neutralized quickly, this will likely be a multi-day incident. So it sounds like they're under some belief that the suspect or suspects may be prepared to be out there for some time. He said they were armed with what he described as modern-day sporting rifles. They're in a heavily wooded area where they can conceal themselves. And during a press conference, that press conference was about 4 o'clock or so, actually. Even during that time, he said they were still under fire from this person or persons up on the mountain. And then add into this is a popular recreation area where people go to mountain bike or to hike. And so officers are still trying to figure out who may still be up there. There could be still people being trapped up there or potential more victims.
Yeah, Regan, have you seen them take anyone else off the mountain? Have you seen any hikers or people recreating that area come off the mountain?
Tim, we have not seen any other hikers come off the mountain at this moment. Now, they're pretty much keeping things under wraps since that press conference. So I'm hoping we're going to get more information at the next press conference at 9:30 this evening. But no, we haven't seen anyone just yet. But yeah, Sheriff Norris said that they don't know how many hikers were up there at the time of the shooting, and with such a beautiful day Sunday to kick off 4th of July week, it's just very scary that this type of thing could happen right here in the Coeur d'Alene area, just a tourist destination. But yeah, we don't know how many other people might have been hurt. We don't know how many hikers were up there, and so that's, I believe, what they're trying to respond to right now, while also trying to track down those suspects. So it's kind of a twofold situation here, trying to find those suspects and also trying to get the community members to safety and to get them off the mountain and back into their homes. And so we're still uncovering that now. I haven't seen anyone come off yet, but again, a huge response. And like I said, they're going to be here out until the late hours tonight. So very, very scary situation. And I'll be honest, when I was driving in, I got the call to be here around 2:50 this afternoon, 3 o'clock. I had no idea just the scale of what I was driving into. All I saw was some smoke from I-90 from the mountain. So very scary. And when I came, yeah, there's been immense vehicles, many patrol vehicles here since that. So just huge response and a very scary situation.
Regan, our Coeur d'Alene camera actually shows some smoke. We have that. We'll pull it up. But what are you seeing right now? Is that fire? Does it look like the smoke is... does it look like it's getting worse? Do you see any active flames right now? This is a live look from our Coeur d'Alene camera.
Yeah, I can't see that camera, Tim. Where I am standing at, I am right by that fire station, kind of by the dog park of Cherry Hill Park. And where we are, we do not see any active flames. So it must be on the other side of the mountain that we're not seeing. However, like they said, the fire officials say that they cannot put out that fire until that threat is neutralized. And at the beginning of that fire, around 1:30 this afternoon, now it's 6 o'clock. So 1:30 to 6 o'clock. At 1:30, the fire started to be around half an acre. So I'm going to assume that that fire has grown some too, especially as we are in the height of fire season. And fire authorities said, as it gets later and cooler, that threat will decrease. But still, they cannot do anything about that threat until the suspects are potentially found. So very scary. Other part of the situation here is that fire as well, because as this is a beautiful park, a beautiful place that people enjoy, and many people just live right in the area, that could be a growing threat too.
Yeah, that's a good point right there, Regan. Yeah, it certainly is. We are in the height of fire season right now, so not a good situation. As you mentioned, that fire will just burn until the situation's resolved and it's safe for firefighters to go back in. Sheriff Bob Norris, during his press conference, it was asked about the type or the situation of gunfire they were taking, and he described it as this: "We are taking rapid fire up there." That's how he described their responding officers encountering this situation. So, yeah, if you're just joining us, this whole thing began almost 5 hours ago, east of Coeur d'Alene, Canfield Mountain. It started as a reported brush fire. When they arrived, firefighters started taking fire. We know that 2 were shot and killed. There could be more victims.
And still taking gunfire up until at this point that we know of. The sheriff saying at least around the 5 o'clock hour that his deputies and other responding law enforcement officers were still taking gunfire in multiple directions, which is why they believe that there could be multiple suspects involved right now.
Yeah, we want to bring up some tweets from our local leaders. We know we have one from the governor right now of Idaho, Brad Little. If we could pull up his tweet right now where he is addressing the situation. If you're just joining us, here's what he said. Multiple heroic firefighters were attacked today while responding to a fire in North Idaho. It's a heinous direct assault on our brave firefighters. I ask all Idahoans to pray for them and their families as we wait to learn more. We also saw a tweet from the FBI director that he sent out about an hour and a half, perhaps 2 hours ago. If we could pull that one up real quick. He's saying FBI assets heading to the scene in Coeur d'Alene to provide tactical and operational support. It is an active scene. So this situation attracting the attention of our top law enforcement officer in the country right now.
And we're also hearing from Pam Bondi now. Also, that's new here within the last 10 minutes. Right now, Pam Bondi writing on social media. Of course, the Attorney General writing thank you to our incredible FBI agents on the ground assisting local authorities in Idaho. We are praying for you all.
Yeah. Attorney General Raul Labrador just tweeting this out. Deeply saddened by reports that firefighters were shot while bravely responding to a fire in North Idaho. These heroes put their lives on the line for us every day. They should never be targets. Please keep our first responders and their families in your prayers. Just talking about, I guess, how rare this is for something like this to happen. The sheriff addressed that in the press conference at 4 o'clock today, saying that he's never heard of a situation where firefighters are intentionally targeted in what he described as a rural setting like Canfield Mountain. Sure. He says he has heard of reports of that happening in more urban situations, but not like this. So it's a tough situation for sure.
Absolutely. Also, Idaho senators also writing on social media. We heard from Jim Risch and also Senator Mike Crapo. We'll start with Jim Risch writing, Vicki and I are monitoring the incident in Kootenai County. We pray for the safety of our brave first responders.
All right. If you're just joining us, the Sheriff Bob Norris held a press conference, the Sheriff of Kootenai County, at about 4 o'clock today, so just about 2 hours ago, where he provided an update on this situation. So we want you to take a listen in to what he had to say about what they are dealing with.
Okay, my name is Robert Norris. I am the Sheriff of Kootenai County. This information is very preliminary and is subject to change. We want to give you and the public as much information as quickly as possible. So at approximately 1:21 p.m. this afternoon, we received reports of a fire on the east side of Canfield Mountain. Fire assets responded to the scene, and at approximately 2 p.m. this afternoon, it was reported that firefighters were receiving shots fired at them. We now have 2 deaths. We have an unknown amount of casualties. We still have civilians that are coming off of that mountain. We might have civilians that are stuck or in shock on that mountain. So this is a very, very fresh situation. We are actively taking sniper fire as we speak. This is an active situation. We have multiple agencies that are on scene, from local and federal authorities, and we are prepared to neutralize this suspect who is currently actively shooting at public safety personnel. We are prepared to neutralize this suspect as quickly as possible. We know as of right now. We don't know who the suspects are. We don't know how many there are. So I know that it's very, very, very early, and I don't think that any questions would yield anything. But Chief, do you have anything? Was I accurate in what we were reporting?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll take a couple of questions, but I'd like to remind you that's very, very preliminary, and I'm not so sure we're going to have any additional information.
However, from KXLY, the 2 deaths, are they fire personnel that have died?
We know that there's 2 deaths, and we believe that they are, yes.
Have they been taken off of the mountain? Are they...
Yeah, no, we're still in that process.
Ian Brown, Crime 2. You mentioned that there were multiple people that have been shot. Do you have an exact number at
No.
the moment?
Nope,
Okay.
we do not.
Alex Duggan, the spokesman. How are you going about evacuating people from the mountain or getting personnel out of there who are being shot at? I mean, what does that process look like?
Right now, we're developing a plan to be able to suppress these individuals' firefighting capability. And when we get that under control, when we have an opportunity to suppress that, then we will continue our removing of people who are on the mountain, who are on for a hike, or public safety personnel, or people who live on the backside of the mountain.
Do we
Yes.
have any indication of what type of firearms are being used in this from the suspect?
Well, it appears that modern day sporting rifles are being used. It appears that high-powered rifles are being used, yes.
How many acres is this fire?
I don't know.
Started out as a half acre.
Do we know about how many minutes after shots were fired when fire crews arrived?
Well, we got the first call at 1:21, and we have reports that they were taking shots at about 2 o'clock. I don't know what time they arrived on scene. I don't know what time the firefighters arrived on scene, but we can get you that information at the next briefing if you'd like.
How many engines were on scene when shots were fired? Do we know that?
3? I believe we had 3.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, the people who responded, they were wildland firefighters or they were local firefighters fighting a wildland firefighter?
City of Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai Fire Rescue.
Yes, sir.
When the shots were fired, were they at an accelerated rate or was it a single shot?
Oh, no, we're taking rapid fire up there. in the back.
You keep referring to individuals. Are you referring to the casualties or like the amount of suspects you believe to be?
Well, we don't know how many suspects are up there, and we don't know how many casualties that there are. Yeah, I suspect we'll have people coming forward that maybe are stuck up there that drove themselves to the hospital, but I suspect that would likely be the case.
Do we have confirmation that there are people stuck up there?
People are still coming off the mountain, so it would only be safe to assume that the mountain is not clear.
As of right now, is there an active threat to the
Absolutely,
community?
absolutely there is.
Okay. Has
Yeah.
there been a shelter-in-place order put forth?
Yes, there has, and I would encourage all of you to tell people to stay away from the area. Do not come to the area. Stay away from the area. This is going to be, if these individuals are not neutralized quickly, this is going to be likely a multi-day operation.
Just a question. So is the suspect in a home up there? Are they? Do we have an indication of where they might be on the mountain?
Yeah, we don't believe that they're in a home up there at this time.
So they're just kind of out in the open, firing?
Well, they're heavy brush, well prepared. So yeah, they're blending in with their surroundings.
Sheriff Norris,
Go ahead.
Did you mention that the person that called it in is most likely the shooter?
No.
Okay.
No, we didn't say that. We said the first call was at 121 on a fire, and then we started receiving over our radio that the firefighters were receiving shots fired from the mountain.
Sheriff Norman, has anything happened like this before? And if so, do you think you and other law enforcement entities will be more aware going forward?
You know, this is an interesting dynamic. We have seen some of these things in a urban environment where firefighters were in a urban setting, putting out firefighters during civil disobedience, getting shot at. I've seen that. I can't say that I've seen it in a rural setting myself, but I have seen it in an urban setting frequently where firefighters do get shot at in civil unrest, yes.
So do we know if it's one or two shooters?
We don't know if there's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Yeah, we don't know.
So just for the fire itself, firefighting efforts, is it contained? Is it still spreading? What does that look like?
Well, it's gonna keep burning because we can't put a lot of resources on there right now. But Chief,
No, we won't put any resources
Yeah.
out there until the threat is neutralized.
Do we have like a risk of wildfire? Say, is it high winds? Is that going to fuel the fire or anything, or is it?
We're at a high state right now in wildland, so it'll calm down as the evening progresses, but then it'll pick back up tomorrow.
Thank you.
And hopefully this is neutralized by then.
Thank you.
Sheriff Norris, how are you feeling about this overall from when you first got the call to just now from what you learned?
you know what? It's going to be the tough next couple hours. Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that somebody has a clear shot and is able to neutralize, because they are not at this point in time showing any evidence of wanting to surrender. So as soon as somebody has a clear shot, I encourage them to take that shot and neutralize the threat.
We've seen several life flight helicopters coming in and out. Are there any other air resources that are being used at the moment?
Oh yeah, we have our Emergency Operations Bureau that is containing assets, and whenever a situation goes beyond the local resources, which this has, like I said, we have other counties that are here, we have federal authorities that are here, and we will neutralize this threat. So.
Thank you.
And sorry, I know we've touched on this with the suspects. We know there is at least one, but you said possibly others. Is it coming from multiple different locations that bullets are coming from that might indicate that?
Yes.
It is
Oh yeah.
one suspect?
Yep.
So it's coming from not just one.
Yeah, it's what the officers and deputies are reporting up on the mountain right now. So,
Have any officers been hit?
as of right now, we don't have any officers that have been hit. Okay.
Can you just confirm, list all the law enforcement authorities that are here on scene?
Well, I have not gotten a list yet,
Okay.
but however, pretty much everybody that's in this region, we have some Spokane resources that are here. We have Marshal's office that is on scene, Bonner County Sheriff's here, Coeur d'Alene Police, of course, is here, Idaho State Police, but we have a multitude of resources right now. So, okay, what we'll do is Lieutenant Mark Ellis is going to be one of our press relations here, and we'll determine what time we'll do another press conference, or if the next one will just be a press release. So I'm thinking it'll probably be a press conference, and it'll probably be somewhere in the next 3 or 4 hours, unless something significant happens before then.
Listen to a press conference from Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris right there. That press conference took place right around 4 o'clock today, so it's about 2 hours old at this point, but addressing the situation and the difficulty of the response up there. I think one thing was kind of telling out there. He was just being asked about the response and how long this may take place or unfold for. He said, "I am hoping someone has a clear shot and is able to neutralize," talking about the suspect or suspects up there. They said, "We are taking rapid gunfire up there." So it's a very chaotic and a dynamic situation. Tim, the ATF in Seattle just tweeted out a short time ago, too, the latest law enforcement agency, national law enforcement agency, to talk about the situation, saying ATF special agents and certified fire investigators from the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle offices are responding to the scene in Coeur d'Alene to provide support. So we've heard from the ATF, the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, the governor, Idaho's essentially entire congressional delegation has been looped in on this situation.
And
so
we know Spokane County also providing air support as well. Right. Spokane County Sheriff's Office providing helicopters to that area. We know that the fire obviously still actively burning right now. That's how this all started. They received a call at about 1:22 this afternoon for a fire on Canfield Mountain, and when firefighters arrived, they were met with gunfire.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the fire agency responding was Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. The sheriff was asked directly in that press conference if it was the firefighters who were shot, the ones that were hit, and he says, "I believe they are the firefighters who were killed." He was asked if they were able to be taken off the mountain. He says, "We are in that process right now." We mentioned Canfield Mountain. It's east of Coeur d'Alene. Our Jeremy Lagoud just stepped into the office right now. And Jeremy, you are familiar with that area. It's somewhere you have been to run and to recreate multiple times. Can you kind of describe it for us?
The most interesting thing about Canfield Mountain is it's a multi-use area. So you're getting everyone from people on side-by-sides to dirt bikes to mountain bikes to frequent hikers, people going up with their dogs every single day. Some people hike it every day of the week. It's a very close proximity to many different neighborhoods right there in both Hayden and Coeur d'Alene. So it's a very popular area to go with multiple different ways in. You can see some of that smoke here billowing off the top of the mountain. And when it comes to that mountain, it is right there. It sits just outside of Coeur d'Alene. So Coeur d'Alene just down on the southern end of this map right here. Coeur d'Alene sits here, Hayden here. This is your Canfield Butte area. And so there's a couple of different peaks. And if you are up at the top, if we go back, you can see some of what you're looking at. So this right here is just one of those towers, but at the bottom there are also different buildings that are guarded by some fencing or different cement structures up there. The fire itself is still burning, and as you heard, it is still very dry.